Good morning, guys. Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be my second film study look at Calais Campbell, the Ravens' newest free agent acquisition, returning to Baltimore at just the right time, if you ask me. Provides a lot of depth, options for Jesse Minter, Anthony Weaver on the defensive line in particular. I focused the first video Thursday night, I guess, is what it was, when the signing was announced. I focused that on pass rush stuff. Here I'm going to look at essentially weeks 1 and 2 from the 2025 season. Yes, it's against the Saints and the Panthers. There's going to be teams like that on the Ravens schedule, number one. I'm talking about that quality of team. But second of all, really, I want to focus on Calais Campbell's work against the run. After looking at three full-length games, New Orleans, Carolina, week 1 and 2, and then in addition, a game against Seattle in the midseason, Calais Campbell's probably a better football player against the run than he is in pass rush situations, and he's still got plenty of juice and activity level there. So most of the film here, most of the plays that you're going to see is going to be against the run, his reactions to blocks and what he can do against, in particular, matchups or situations. So here you're getting essentially a kick scheme backed up against their own goal line for Seattle, and he's going to be solo blocked by the center. So Seattle center, in fact, they used 2 centers this past year. They settled on Jalen Sundell. In any case, this is the other guy. And just watch his reaction to it and then the spin off of it. For his age, height, and weight, to be honest with you, for him to be this athletic still, I think, is a true anomaly. It borderline could have been a safety, or it was almost a safety, I guess is the way I should describe it. The spin off of it, his recognition of blocks and understanding of where the ball is going, meaning where the running back is intended to go, his path, his awareness is just, it's elite, if you ask me. I think he's a starter caliber football player for any team in the NFL, even the Ravens. But of course, we've got Travis Jones, Nnamdi Madubuike. There's a lot of options there for Jesse Minter and Anthony Weaver, and this is a really, really good one, in particular on 1st and 10. Sometimes the first iteration or the first time you see a play and you see a guy unblocked, it can somewhat be less impressive because they're totally unblocked. But yeah, the tackle's a little bit slow here, but watch Calais Campbell's path. There's a slight delay step by Kenneth Walker III, who, of course, has moved on to the Kansas City Chiefs at this point. But this is Calais just recognizing, I'm unblocked here, and I'm going to go on a certain path. And what I mean when I say certain path is he's not one of those guys, when left unblocked, who kind of runs upfield and can, in some of these situations, run himself upfield so much that the pulling offensive lineman is able to kick him out. He doesn't do that. He stays tight to the wall, meaning if there's a down block to his inside, in this case Charles Cross, then he's going to step down. It's called block down, step down. He's going tight to the backside of the tackle, and that allows him to get to Kenneth Walker. I mean, yes, he's unblocked. The right tackle, Abe Lucas, happens to be a little bit slow here. He's an impressive football player, guys, to be honest with you. When I did the first film study video Thursday night, like I said, and focused that just on pass rush stuff, I knew I was going to take a look at the Seattle game. I didn't know, however, that I was going to watch his film from week 1 and week 2 of 2025 and be as impressed as I was. For anyone who's in the Ravens Discord, they already know that because I posted up the 6 or 8 plays I'm talking about, and I'm going to show them here to you in a moment. A lead zone concept away, and so he's going to be matched up on the backside here with, once again, it's Charles Cross. Lead zone just means the fullback and the tailback are going in the same direction. Sometimes I call it full flow. In any case, Charbonnet is moving away from Campbell, and then Cross is just, we would call it a gut block on the backside, so you're just trying to basically keep him turned in that direction and preserve that backside cutback lane possibly for the running back. In this case, that's actually where Charbonnet goes because the defensive tackle on the front side kind of wins, and I chose to zoom in here. I know it probably gets a little bit maybe disorienting to see it zoomed in so abruptly. I wish there was a little bit of a pop out to it, or a gradual increase to the zoom in or magnification. But in any case, Calais got great eyes, keep himself focused where the football is, but also deal with the blocker in front of him. And this is against a good offensive lineman, all right? Charles Cross played well for Seattle last year. You're going to see a couple of talented guys he goes against in this video, and then you also see a couple that, we're going to run into teams on our schedule, especially in 2026, that have some bad offensive linemen or average level play, if you ask me. And in this case, Calais is able to get off of Charles Cross's block, and Charbonnet winds it back directly to him. He's a really good football player, even showed up in the 2 games on film that I had against the Seahawks. Now going to focus on those first 2 games of the year, and he's generally going to be matched up. He generally lines up on the left-hand side of the defense, right-hand side of our screen, obviously here. But he's matched up against, I think it's Fuaga, a young offensive lineman, highly rated, highly drafted, I should say. So it's a pistol option play here first. And he's not left unblocked. The read man or who could be perceived as the read man, you can almost maybe see his foot just off screen there. He'll show up, don't worry. But it's Calais Campbell's reaction to the blocks, number one, and also the frustration that 75 has to have here early in the game. He gets beat on multiple types of reactions from Calais Campbell. Swim moves. Here, this is just a violent inside hand punch. And 75 is working with the tight end. They're working together on Calais Campbell. He shouldn't be able to, or excuse me, the design of the play is he shouldn't be able to split this. Essentially, you're talking about the same thing happening here to this nose tackle. And so as we let the play run forward here, watch Calais able to split this versus the nose tackle who's not. 75 was really having a lot of trouble early in this game with Calais Campbell. And it happened immediately. First series of the game, Calais Campbell's making an impact against the run, and he's directly matched up with 75, who's, at this point, like 17 years his junior, or maybe, 16 years his junior as far as age. Calais is very technical, obviously very strong, got great length, great arm length and size. Sometimes his pad level is going to be different than other defensive tackles. I'll tell you what he's really spectacular at, and that's playing out of a 4-eye technique. Here's an example of what I mean. Our angle is slightly different because the ball is on the right hash, but both of these guys, I would say, are in a 4-eye. This defensive tackle here and Calais as well. Calais, you could interpret that as a 4. I think it's just slightly off the midline or off the center of 75's body. Essentially, a 4-eye is slightly inside shade of the tackle and reading and reacting to his block. It's going to be QB counter or bash. So I think Rattler is reading this defensive end, edge defender. Arizona plays a unique defense. It's a 5-1. If I had some time this offseason, this summer, I'd like to do a film study examination of them. But to be honest with you, there's about 8 or 10 full-length film studies I'd like to do. And most of the time in the offseason, those take about 3 weeks to complete because I'm just really serious and probably slow-moving with the way that I get them done. But watch Calais react to what essentially is becoming a down block scheme by 75. Because he's inside shade, the rules there for the tackle is to take him down, and oftentimes he's going to have the tight end helping him out. Violent slap, swim first, and then slap almost on the back of the head of 75. It really ends up being, his shoulder and then his upper back area. 75 ends up on the ground. It's quarterback counter or bash, so the quarterback is keeping it based off of the read. This guy here stepping up when Kamara runs horizontal. Kamara's path is actually pretty lazy, if you ask me, because he knows he's not getting the football. But in any case, Calais Campbell, disrupts it. Quarterback is Rattler. He gets away from him. Still disruption, and that's the point, right? He's a very disruptive player against the run. If you ask me, the Ravens are going to make great use of Calais Campbell's skills. Hopefully about 30, 32, maybe 35 snaps a game. All right, we've got the same technique here. Well, excuse me, the same alignment here from Calais Campbell, a 4-eye, so slightly inside shade of 75, Fuaga. And he's on the other side here. What I mean is he's opposite the running back now. In the previous play, remember, Kamara's feet were over here, right? It was quarterback counter or bash. Now, this is going to be what I would just call F counters, different names for it. But it's jumbo personnel, jumbo 12 personnel, because there's the additional tight end. There's an actual tight end, 83. I think it's Johnson. And there's a jumbo or second tight end who's really, an offensive lineman. So when I say Calais is on the other side of it, what I mean is he's opposite the running back now. So Fuaga, the reaction to the block is different here initially. He's getting his hands on, he being Calais. He's not immediately swimming. But then he goes back to that swim over the top, and it fits, right, with his body size, his composition, his frame, if you will. You know, being taller, you're not going to swim as much if you're a smaller, shorter guy. It's more difficult to get over the top. He's really good at getting that inside foot kind of canted back some, stepping up with the outside foot, and then swimming over. So it allows his body, the frame of his body, to turn quicker. And you can see this time he doesn't miss the tackle like on the last play against Rattler. Finishes off Kamara. Spectacular player against the run in the film that I had from week 1 and 2. You know, I'm not discounting the pass rush stuff because, like I said, Thursday night I showed you, you know, some of his sacks and some of his pass rush skills, especially his usage on stunts. Same game against the Saints. A very violent, disruptive football player, but active. That's the thing I think that I would like to stress the most is the activity level from his games in week 1 and week 2. I think he played 37 snaps in this game. 32 in this game and 37 in week 2. Watch how many players he makes contact with, you know, in this area here and the running back over the course of the next, 1.7 seconds. It's a screen. A part of me almost wonders if he starts to identify it at some point once he gets through here. I'm talking about how easy, you know, he gets through here on the guard. I think Calais knows somewhere in this area, okay, it's probably a screen, I've been left alone. And then he just leans into the running back and the center. You know, he definitely contacts 3 players, the guard, the right guard, or the left guard, both guards, the running back, and then maybe the center. The center's just trying to work past him to get up to the next level. So, you know, he didn't intentionally contact him. The point is, now this is something that we used to track, or I used to track. How many people did you make contact with in the course of the play? And then he's able to redirect. I think you're looking at a guy that we probably can get more out of than most other non-Ravens fans want to admit. You know, Calais Campbell's old. I saw a couple of comments in the first video that I did on him Thursday night. You know, we're reaching back to the retirement home or whatever. I mean, watch the film of him. Track his activity level, his reaction to blocks, the violence he plays with. I think we're looking at a very forceful football player, especially if we use him, you know, at a particular snap count that's by design and that he understands. When I say that he understands, what I mean is that it's by design and pre-planned such that Calais knows he's going to play 30, 32, maybe 35 snaps a game so he can conserve his energy for those moments. Week 2 against the Panthers, this was a 27-22 win. I'll actually show you 2 really great plays that Campbell makes in the final minute of the game. And what's great about the 4-eye sometimes is, you know, on run plays to you understand the reaction that you're going to get here. It really kind of simplifies things. But on run plays away, it forces the tackle to try to scoop you. And scoop means cut you off on the backside. So this tackle is going to try to get to the right shoulder, the inside shoulder of Calais Campbell. He's got to take certain steps, number 1. Number 2, he's got to have great hand strength and hips to be able to dig to that other side. And Campbell's just too good in a 4-eye, at least on this snap. Running back away, his path, his intended path is totally disrupted because Calais Campbell can't get cut off. They've got to work the guard and the center on the nose. Basically, that could be by matchup. The decision could be made there as far as the quality of the nose tackle they're facing. You've got dual 4-eyes, so it almost just kind of becomes math on the front side, and that means you got to scoop or cut him off on the backside. Can't get it done, and look at the disruption that's afforded there. You do have a pretty good job, I think, here of setting the force or the edge, to the front side. But Calais is very similar to Matabike in some ways. Matabike is a little bit different. Matabike plays in a 3 more often than a 4-eye. But the point is they can't get scooped on the backside. You can't scoop them. You can't take them over on the backside. And you get severe disruption of the play that ends up with, multiple guys being there for a tackle for loss. I think his reaction to blocks is elite. His technique is of the highest level for his body size and his frame. And then the hand placement oftentimes is what really, pushes things over the top. A really nice example of how unique Arizona's defense can be at times. I cut the screen recording early, so you don't see Calais Campbell standing up and basically identifying that there's a running back here on a 3rd and 3 and a tight end there, and it's split zone. And Carolina runs this multiple times in these goal line or 3rd down situations. You'll see 2 of them in this video. Watch him. Check out Campbell. He's going to make contact with 2 players immediately after the snap. It's a split zone where all the offensive linemen are working to their left or our right on the screen, and then the tight end's working across the heels. Running back's going to try to bring it back. Arizona tries to predict, or maybe I should say pre-plan, the running back's path. It's a 4-1 in the box, but Baker, the Buda Baker, the highly touted free safety or strong safety, is oftentimes reading the tight end, and if the tight end sifts across, then he'll insert down. And the linebacker knows this. So the linebacker fits on the backside of this. I say backside, meaning because all the offensive linemen are working this way. So the linebacker fits on the backside, and Baker fits on the front side. So basically, essentially, Baker becomes an inside linebacker. Let's focus on Calais for a moment. Coming off the ball, gets his right hand up on the right guard, trying to prevent him from working up. That's what Campbell is doing right here. He's trying to prevent the guard from working up at all. So essentially creating a 2-for-1, and then using at the same time that he's using his outside arm, his left arm, to try to control the tackle and then break off of him and make the tackle, along with the inside linebacker. It's a great illustration, if you ask me, of trying to stop the run. 11 personnel run game out of a light box. It's different. Like the Rams style of running out of 11 personnel is different. It's going to be under center. They're going to use receivers to block here. Here you're talking about, truly 8-on-6, and Arizona makes it work. 2 edge defenders, 2 defensive tackles, 1 inside linebacker, a safety, linebacker, hybrid. Baker can be whatever he wants to be. Calais Campbell's a big part of this. I spent a lot of time there talking about the scheme, but to me, Calais Campbell's a big part of how this gets done on this particular play. 3rd and 3, nice little stop, an example of how he can play multiple techniques. I've shown you the 4-eye stuff a couple of times here already. This is not a 4-eye, even though he is wider. It's because he's canted and turned in this direction. This is really a wide 3 in a pass rush situation. One thing to say here about his reliability is he's very similar to Matabike and even Travis Jones from the standpoint of the inside linebackers, or even, safeties, nickel, in the case of Hamilton. They know that those guys are going to win at the point of attack. So on a backside run, if you're on the backside of a run concept as an inside linebacker or a nickel, you can reliably know that Matabike, Campbell, Travis Jones are not going to get scooped. Other guys, Broderick Washington, even John Jenkins to an extent, they'll get scooped, so it makes it more challenging or more difficult for you on the backside. Essentially, what I'm offering to you is we now have a 3rd player on the interior that against the run, Roquan Smith, whoever plays will linebacker for us, our nickel DBs, they can all reliably fit where they, quote, should fit, because those guys are going to win at the point of attack on the defensive line. More of a goal line or short yardage situation here. Carolina's actually just scored kind of like an easy touchdown pass to the running back. I think it's 27-22 at this point, and it's a 2-point conversion for Carolina. You'll get the end zone angle for a moment. Calais is in kind of like a really tight 3, and once again, it's 12 personnel, but Carolina's using a split zone concept. So all the offensive linemen are blocking to their left or moving to the top side of our screen. And then this tight end is going to sift his way across and try to block that edge defender. I think it's D. Mukherjee, who's actually from Baltimore. In any case, the way that it works out, Calais is super disruptive here on the front side of this, or the back side of this, excuse me. And when you get the end zone angle, you'll see what I mean. He's in a really tight 3 technique. Again, that's Calais Campbell right there. You'll get the end zone angle in a moment to kind of check it out if you want. Watch how quickly he just swims over the guard. Now, the guard is working up to the second level, so it doesn't seem to, quote, he doesn't fall over or tip over like Fuaga did earlier in the game, remember, or earlier in this video when I showed you Calais Campbell swimming over him. But it's just a trickle-down effect, number one. The tackle's got to take him over. I get it, like high-level offensive line guys are going to say, well, we don't care if you swim. The next guy's just going to take us over. Well, when it's split zone like this, number one, and number two, you get that type of penetration. It's the speed that he gets off the ball and the penetration that Campbell gets here that really disrupts this. Why? That edge defender doesn't get blocked at all because the tight end can't get there. Calais literally disrupted the tight end's path. Disgusting level of explosion for, at that time, 39-year-old football player. And I think we're like 6 minutes left in the game at this point. End zone angle of the same play. And you'll see that he's in a really tight 3. I'm trying to give you as many different techniques or alignments as possible. Talked about the 4-eye and then the wide 3 on the third down. What I consider to be a pass rush alignment, even though it was a split zone by Carolina. And now here Arizona's got him in a tight 3 technique, so just outside of the guard. And then watch him swim through this gap. He's an expert at getting into the gap between blockers that you really shouldn't be able to do. He's a savant, really, with a swim move, if you ask me. And it has a trickle-down effect because the edge defender is unblocked, 52, D. Mukeji, and then 27 and also 34 are going to get involved because Calais has disrupted the tight end's path. Essentially, you've got another 2 for 1. The right tackle and the tight end are having to deal with Calais Campbell, and that leaves 1, if not 2 guys totally unblocked to finish the running back off. Basically, Carolina was trying to get within 27-24, so a field goal would tie the game late. 2 sacks here in the fourth quarter, the final possession. In fact, like I said, at this point, Arizona's lead has been cut to 27-22. He's in that wide 3 alignment again. As an aside, the more film I watched, the more I was like, man, this was a huge snub for Josh Sweat to not be named to the Pro Bowl. But in any case, it's a stunt versus empty. And keep this in mind for one of the final plays of the game that's in the 60th minute. In any case, Campbell has great adaptability during the pass rush. And I think he brings Anthony Weaver and Jesse Minter just a ton of options. I think you get a really great idea from this rush and a couple in the video from Thursday night of how Arizona, I think, does a really nice job of trapping the quarterback with a designed rush scheme. Now, empty makes it a little bit, simpler because there's no running back, back here to help with the pass protection. You've only got the quarterback and 5 offensive linemen. Really reminds me of a lot of things that Seattle does. And what I mean is this coordination of the 4-man rush scheme. So 1 defensive end or edge defender in the case of Sweat, with a topside rush, an inside move over here, and then allowing Campbell to kind of read it and then either fold over the top if the quarterback escapes that way, or if the quarterback tries to escape the other way, theoretically he could work this way. I think that this is what Jesse Minter wants to move to. Actually, this is what Jesse Minter does. I misspoke there for a moment. It's very similar to what Mike McDonald does. People talk about, and they focus on, winning with 4, only consistent utilization of 4 in the pass rush. But it's really the scheme, the designed pass rushes that we missed. I think as 2024 moved into 2025 in Baltimore, we got less of this. And when I say this, I mean the designed pass rush scheme, the coordination of this edge rusher with a hard-coded outside rush path and this edge rusher with a hard-coded inside rush path. I haven't talked about it, but this defensive tackle's assignment really feeds into it as well. Essentially what I'm offering, and maybe not doing a really good job of explaining, is that there's some true math or a scientific approach, if you ask me, to dealing with the 6 potential gaps that a quarterback could escape to, right? 3 on the left, 3 on the right, with only 4 defenders to do so. And Calais, I think, has great adaptability during the play on stuff like this where he stunts outside. In addition, he's really good with the hand placement of controlling the outside shoulder of the guard because he knows the edge defender is moving to the inside here, and he, Campbell, is just trying to make sure that the guard can't pick up the edge defender. Essentially, he's being a help defender by holding onto the guard a little bit longer than really we have in the past. That 2025 and 2024, we certainly didn't do as good a job on stunts of helping out our teammates to the outside. I guess one way to describe it is Calais Campbell doesn't just know, what to do and how to do so, but when. And he's got these little slight variations to the things that he does on these stunts that I think just kind of accentuates it and helps promote success for his teammates. Final minute of the game. I think this is the 36th snap that day for Calais Campbell. This isn't a sack. It's a 3rd and 15, but it's I'm going to zoom in here a little bit. It's a stunt with 2 defensive tackles. So pull this back for a moment. I think it's Stills is the defensive tackle over here that once I've magnified, you're going to lose him, but he'll come back on screen in a moment. He's basically going to loop around like that. I love the magnification. I know that, hopefully people don't find it too disorienting. This is what I would consider to be that kind of wide 3. He's certainly not in a 3, but his path is aimed at the outside arm of the guard or outside shoulder of the guard. So that's why I would call it a wide 3. You'll see Stills kind of show up. And again, Calais just adapts during the play. He doesn't try to go through the walled city that is here. He fights the pressure and swims over the top, a little quick swim. It's actually Cade Mays, who the Detroit Lions have signed in free agency to be their starting center. And here we've got Calais working over the top to get some disruption of the quarterback as he's trying to release the football. Like I said, it's a 3rd and 15, in the final minute of the game. All right, this will be the last play that I show here. I will have some thoughts at the end to summarize. I don't really necessarily see a reason to talk for 5 minutes about what you've seen here. This kind of speaks for itself. I'm just trying to add to it with my commentary and the graphics that we put on screen. I remember 2 plays ago showed you the stunt and the way that Calais is very expert with how he clears the path, if you will, for his teammates to the outside. So here we've got the very next snap. Well, 2 snaps after the one that I'm referring to. 4th and 15, 38 seconds left, I believe, as the ball is snapped. It's almost like a fake stunt. This is really interesting what this edge defender does. He kind of ends up dancing a little bit, and it almost really confuses the right guard. I'm talking about number 62. So looks like a TE stunt, where Calais is going to go first, and then you'd have the end kind of, go underneath, loop under, and that's not what happens. I don't know if it's that, he's tired, he being the edge defender. Josh Sweat over here on the other side has what I consider to be a really cool example of how athletic he is. You got the running back releasing to his side. Maybe the running back isn't sometimes you tell a running back, like, okay, this is 100%, we got a chip. Or this is 70%, we've got a chip, but we want you to really release. This almost looks like for the running back, this is a 70% chip, 30% release. So that basically tells the running back, okay, as long as you force him to the inside, that's fine. Watch how athletic Sweat is at getting underneath that chip and then trying an outside swat. It doesn't really work, but in any case, it doesn't work, to get to the quarterback and sack him, but it works as far as what the design is. So Calais is able to get between the right guard and the right tackle, and because of the edge defender dancing, the right guard kind of peels off to him, and then Campbell can fight back underneath. This is another illustration, if you ask me, of what I would consider to be a designed 4-man rush scheme that can trap an athletic quarterback. It's 4th and 15, so he's got to throw the football. So it'd be easy for someone to say, Coach, I don't think you should read that much into it. This is something I'd like to study for the offseason, the way that Seattle, Jesse Minter does it as well. I find Arizona to be very good at it in 2025 at times. And that's these kind of designed four-man rushes where you've got a hard-coded edge rush with, a guy who is a speed rusher combined with some type of stunt, either with the defensive tackles or the D-end and edge defender from the other side, that really complement each other overall. The bottom line is, and non-Ravens fans aren't going to want to hear this, and maybe there's actually some Ravens fans who didn't like the signing. I mean, I'd be interested in the perspective there if that's the case, but Calais Campbell impacts the game in a number of ways. And that, to me, makes this an important move. I've shown you his defense against the run, whether he's on the front side of the run concept, to the side where the running back flows, or the backside. In a 4-eye, he's just a badass football player in 2025. Maybe it changes, right? Maybe it changes in 2026 and he gets old fast. Well, it wouldn't be getting old fast at this point. It'd be getting old slow because he's hung around a long time. He'll turn 40, I think, September 1st or September 2nd. He can do a lot of things well. He's really good in a 3 technique. I think he's one of the – I just got done, and a number of people just got done for months watching college football film. And, I think of a guy like a Keldrick Falk, who, talked about, he played inside a whole lot. He's really good in a 4-eye. And I would agree that he's better suited as a 4-eye than he is as an edge defender. And then I sat down once we signed Calais Campbell and watched film of him in a 4-eye. The difference is it's night and day. His reactions are instantaneous. His strength, his hand placement, understanding, very good against the run, very good football player against the run. He's going to play in some pass rush situations. The swim move is high level. The reaction to blocks, he reacts to the same blocks differently depending on his alignment and his scheme, and I think that's important. He's a moving target. I mean, he's a moving target for guards and tackles because he might be lined up here, but and he might, get his hands on you and play like a bull on one snap, and then the next one, the swim move, he's the matador. His run reactions are unpredictable. Like I said, I understand that zone offensive line coaches are going to say, it doesn't matter if you swim, the next guy's going to pick you up. Well, I just showed you some examples of him. We're not talking about 6-inch splits, all right? By the way, we're talking about normal splits. And Calais Campbell, is getting through that gap. He's very abrupt, quick, powerful about it. He can play through contact and get into the gaps. Multiple plays here where he disrupted the running back path or the tight end path on the the 2-point conversion against Carolina. I tried to give you a full-length film study here based on full-length game film, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please let me know because I love doing Saturday morning film study videos for Ravens fans. I would love to do a Saturday morning film study for Ravens fans and a separate one for Lions fans. It's just tough when I get up in the middle of the night, Friday night, to produce 2 of them. That's always my goal, at least it has been recently. So if you like it, please do one of a number of things. Like the video, right? Or comment, and of course that helps the video, but it lets me know what you think. Or consider donating, something that will confirm to me that these are worth your time, worth my time as well, right? Because I really enjoy them. As an aside, something else that I'm considering for the 2026 regular season. This is not related to Calais Campbell. Myself and at least one other person, maybe 2, are planning on doing some previews on like Saturday mornings or maybe even Sunday mornings during the season. Essentially, a 30 to 35 minute live period where this will be a new endeavor where we basically talk about the matchup that we're going to see in a live stream discussion panel. It may or may not show film, but the point for me is that it would be after practice has concluded for the week and you've got an idea of who is and is not going to be healthy. So let me know what you think of that idea or, any of the film, the plays, and the evaluation points that I made about Calais Campbell. Really happy with this signing for a lot of reasons. Returning to Baltimore, hopefully to win a Super Bowl. I think he really bolsters, strengthens the defensive line, and gives us a ton of options on 1st and 10 or even 3rd and 6 for schemes to utilize. In any case, appreciate you guys' time. If you enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comments section.